A pair of old school franchises and a bit of an old school matchup. Your final from LA, 117 to 102. Anytime Lakers and the Celtics get together, it's worth the watch. And we had some stars showing out in this one. LBJ, he went for 30 points. Russell Westbrook questioning the haters, as always. 24 points, 3 rebounds, 11 assists. Leading the way for the Celtics, 34 points out of Jason Tatum, but it was far from enough as these teams both now sit at 13-12 on the season. Here to break down everything we saw on Tuesday night, the best in the business, CBS Sports NBA Insider Bill Reiter. Bill, talking specifically first about that Lakers-Celtics game. Do you walk away from this game feeling drastically different about either one of these clubs?
I don't, and maybe I should, because it is a good win for the Lakers. They played really well offensively. They've struggled all year offensively, one of the 7 worst offensive teams entering the game. Against the Celtics team, even though they haven't been anything better than mediocre, they've been excellent defensively this year. And yet, the eyeball test for me, Joe, I watched what the Lakers did. I watched the way they run their offense. To me, that was more beaten up on a Celtics team that just didn't play well than all of a sudden believing again the Lakers as the contenders. They certainly want to be, and maybe I'll be proven wrong, but the answer is no. I think there's still 2 mediocre basketball teams.
We'll get to the Celtics side here in just a moment, but there's been some static around the head coaching position with the Los Angeles Lakers of late. Conversations being had, at least externally, maybe spurred by some of the bigger stars there in LA as well. But Frank Vogel and his position as the head coach coming into question more than a quarter way through the season. This Lakers team with big-time expectations, big names all over the place, sitting at 500, now a game above it after this win. Does a win like this buy any favor for a guy like Frank Vogel?
It does, and it's not fair that he's in this position, but life is unfair, especially when you coach LeBron James. That's the catch-22. Coach him, you got a chance at championships, you got a chance at a whole bunch of limelight, and you got a chance to get fired every single year, no matter what is going on. Yes, that Celtics-Lakers rivalry is not just a big deal on CBS Sports HQ or in the media. They take it seriously in that building, both the Lakers and the Celtics. It's on national television. That matters in LA. And they're the kind of games, because history is linked to what LeBron cares about. It won't salvage Frank Vogel's hot seat. It won't make it cooler for a month. For 2 or 3 or 4 days, for a few games, yeah, it's significant.
It's significant, and it's significant to point out the fact that 5 coaches have been fired as the head coach of LeBron James. So it is not an easy position to hold.
Not easy.
Frank Vogel going to see if he can turn this thing around in LA, as they now, as we said, sit at 13-12, equal record to the Boston Celtics, who are underperforming as well. But it's the Boston Celtics. There's talent on that team. So yes, let's call it the first quality win of the season for the LA Lakers, because if you go down that schedule, there aren't many good teams that they've beaten this season. What'd you learn about Boston here on Tuesday night?
That Marcus Smart was right a week and a half ago when he called out the young stars and really Jason Tatum, that being great individually doesn't make you great as a team. Jason Tatum scored the first 14 points for the Celtics. He hit the over, so I appreciate that in a very personal way. And he looked like a superstar when he was on the floor, and yet they were discombobulated. They didn't play good defense. They looked disconnected offensively, and they didn't compete when the Lakers made that run in the third quarter. That's not what you do when you're a group of guys, Jason Tatum at the helm, that have been together for a while, that have expectations. I know there's a new head coach. Marcus Smart's right. They've got to figure out whether it's desire, it's togetherness. They've got to be more than individuals. And when you're not, you're going to lose on nights like this to the Lakers.
14-plus first quarter points goes a long way when you're holding that Jason Tatum ticket.
Yes.
Again, he knows from experience.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.